release. There is so much to discuss about all of this here. Do want to bring in a great friend of the show, Mark Chandler, Director of Government Relations at Coastal Carolina University and a former senior defense intelligence official. Thank you so much for taking the time, Mark, as always, to be here with us and break down the latest developments on a story that we've been following here for over 24 hours.
Good morning, Josh, and good morning to you.
Good morning. Well, Mark, first off, I wanted to get your reaction here. What do we make of the comments from the vice president there of Venezuela, who is now being named by the high court as the interim president? Because we heard yesterday from President Trump as he was speaking, saying he wants to work with her to kind of have that transition, maybe have her in power there. What do you make of all of that?
Well, Josh, I think her comments are they should be expected. Very nationalistic, very pro-Venezuelan right now, supportive of Maduro. So I think that to solidify her strength a little bit, and if you recall yesterday, I mentioned there's 3 possible replacements for Maduro. Legally, she's the replacement, as she is the vice president. You saw the high court go ahead and say she's going to be the interim ruler. But she's got competition, the interior minister and the defense minister. So she had to come out strong in support of Maduro and also Venezuelan sovereignty. She said Maduro is the only president of Venezuela. She said that, she speaks out against this aggression against Venezuelan sovereignty. So those are standard boilerplate comments, if you will, that I think she should make and made appropriately. But I was caught off guard a little bit yesterday when President Trump said, we will run Venezuela. Now, we do know that Secretary of State Rubio has been having conversations with the vice president. So when we talk about those back channel conversations, I think for her security, her consolidation of power, if you will, she had to make those comments while working at the same time, if this is happening, behind the scenes to look at some sort of transition handoff with the United States or some sort of interim government, if you will, going forward. So she's not the strongest of the 3 people who could replace Maduro. She definitely doesn't have all the military and internal security backing. That goes with the defense minister and the interior minister. So she's got to walk this fine line while perhaps working a watershed agreement behind the scenes with the United States.
This is a statement there, pretty brief, but it is from Maria Corina Machado, the head of the opposition there, saying, Venezuelans, the hour of freedom has arrived. And that was a statement that came out after Maduro's capture and after those comments from President Trump. What role does Maria Corina Machado play right now, and what paths, if any of them, exist for her to actually be the new leader of the country?
Well, this is a little more complicated. I mean, she's a highly popular individual, opposition leader, if you will. But, she's in Norway right now. So I think what she has to do is she has to walk a fine line. She wants to show her support, because she's so popular in the country, of the Venezuelan people. But what that fine line is, she doesn't want to create such an uprising, if you will, by the people that they receive such a backlash from those still in power. You recall, you got that Maduro regime and all his cronies still running the government, and they've got the backing of the military, the backing of the internal security forces. So if she does something that's too provocative out there to the people, that could create a problem, and you could see a disaster on the streets across the country. So she wants to show that support to the people, but she has to be careful and not create that uprising that would create more trouble for the people. Now, as for becoming a leader, she backed the guy who actually won the 2024 election. That goes into part of this whole problem of Maduro not being the recognized and legitimate leader or president of Venezuela. So I think what we could see is her, when it's safe to do so, move back into the country and lead kind of a transition government, if you will. Or I don't think she'll be the leader unless they go through another round of elections at that, but they could lead some sort of co-lead a transition government with the legally elected president from 2024.
I wanted to ask you a little bit about the mission itself, the operation to capture Maduro and his wife that took place very early on Saturday morning. For something like this to happen, you have to imagine that there was some internal help for the U.S., someone or a group of people there who are on the inside and were able to make this kind of all work together.
Yeah, absolutely, Josh. And I think when you look at something like this, it's not 100% rule, but it's great to have some internal help, some human, as we say, human intelligence. And so we know months ago the CIA was put in. Unfortunately, we went public with it and said that we were going to conduct covert operations in there. But what we try to do over time, and matter of fact, all nations try to do this inside another country, is develop a human source in there, somebody that can give us very specific access to certain things. And what we wanted here was really, how do we help develop a pattern of life? You heard the chairman yesterday talk about how great NSA, the National Security Agency, NGA, the National Geospatial Intelligence Agency, and CIA were in